it's Hoff on the ShadowsReign A1A YouTube channel. You already knew that, and if you didn't, you probably didn't care anyway. And today, we are going to be talking about the Crossbow. The Crossbow, for me, is, for the channel as well, it's a fan favourite. It doesn't get used often, but when it does, you know that the video that it's in is going to be an absolute blinder. Now, for me personally, I've always enjoyed using the Crossbow. I usually mained it last game. Usually mained it in Modern Warfare 2019 with a Warzone build. I'd put the explosive tip on there. So usually if you hit the chest, the crossbow would knock them, and then the explosion would insta-kill them. So you would get basically 2 hits, but in 2 different phases. So your damage wouldn't like carry over into them being down, because obviously they've got like invincible frames when they get downed. And then obviously by the time that invincible frame period's over, the explosion would finish them off. I thought it was toxic AF, and I was all for it. In this game, you can do pretty much a similar thing. People can use Survivor now. It's quite funny when you kill someone with Survivor using the crossbow, actually. You just see like the hope just vanish from their eyes. Like, I know you can't really see eyes like digitally in a game, but you know when like someone's not even moving, they're not even trying to escape. It's like they've accepted their fate, and like that's what happens when you've knocked someone with an explosive tip crossbow, which is quite funny. Another thing that I do want to talk about as well, particularly in multiplayer, is that it's actually a great counter for pistol riot shielders or riot shielders with shotguns. You know what I mean? You know those little bastards that put the riot shields on the back thinking they're pure belter? You hit them with that, it kills them. Brilliant. I am all for it. Even when they've got the riot shield out, just get it on them, bang. There's been a few situations, actually, where with the riot shield, you shoot them, and you've missed. They've killed you. However, your bolt has hit the back of their riot shield. So though they've killed you with their gun, you've put your bolt there, and that kills them. Even if they've got flak jacket on. Brilliant. It's great. So I like to use it in a certain way, and we're going to talk about that now as well. So another way that we tend to use these is that we want them to basically be accurate. We want them to have fast bolts, and we want them to be one-hit kills. Now, unfortunately, that perfect trifecta does not exist. However, the accuracy, I'm going to say we're going to sacrifice that. And the reason that I say we're going to sacrifice that is purely because even if you have a max accuracy build, the velocity of the bolt is going to make it impossible to hit at range anyway, and there's still major accuracy problems with the crossbow anyway at a max accuracy build. It's not going to always go where that dot is, and the bullet drop's not always going to be the same. So I would say, let's get that 28 strand arm on there, cable, whatever it is, and we'll rock it from there. And the reason that we're going to do that, it's going to make the arrow fire a lot faster, and in general, it's going to help out with leading your shot a bit more. And hitting people at long range with the crossbow, though it's a skill, it does feel very satisfying, and I feel as if you're going to get more kills. Well, I say feel as if, I know, because I've played it and tried it, you do get more kills if you use that. If you use the 28 over range than you would, like, say, the smaller one. Now, what tip should you put on there? Now, it depends on what game mode you're playing. Now, I actually like just running this without a tip on there, and that's just my personal preference. The reason I like doing that is because a lot of kills that you're going to get with the crossbow are going to be people that are right in front of you. Now, if you're using the caustic arrows, which don't get me wrong, they are hilarious, and I still enjoy putting them on from time to time, but the reason that we're going to not try and use them is because they can be harmful to you. So if you fire something at point blank range, or you're on an objective, or you're going to an objective, or you're defending an objective, you can cause yourself some harm. And if you fire point blank on someone, or you need to run where you've just killed somebody, you need to run through them, then you're going to give yourself explosive damage, you're going to give yourself gas damage, which is going to delay you reloading your bolt, and that's not ideal for anybody. The thermite, I wouldn't particularly recommend. It's got a very, 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 very small range, but the caustic or the bolt is absolutely fine if that's how you want to rock it. For me, personally, I just prefer it without the tip. So I prefer a circumcised bow. Now, going forward with this, I like to use just a clear old sight, note special. Don't need to fancy too much, don't need to worry too much about the sight. Use whatever you want. I don't like the iron sight though, I will say that much. And then, yeah, for me, it's just mainly about getting kills and enjoying myself with it. I like to use this with a throwing knife. and not for the throwing knife per part of it. When you've got a throwing knife in your pocket, your melee becomes a knife. It doesn't become the punch. And that's important because if you miss your shot up close, you need to be able to quickly run to them and slash the bastard. And that's important because I've got so many kills by doing that. Now, yes, you can pull out your quick draw pistol, which I like to do, but sometimes the situation doesn't always allow for that. If they're right in your face, you've missed, just swing a knife. Having that knife in your pocket is going to be massively helpful. A big thing for this as well is going to be flashbangs and stun grenades. If you can lead a stun, if you know someone's around the corner, lead with a stun. Just give the advantage that you're going to give yourself when you allow an extra, literally an extra second or two, or an extra split second or two, just to line up that shot, so you know that when you jump round that corner, slide round that corner, walk around that corner, or that person's coming round that corner, that you've got just that little bit longer to react, because you do not want to be flinching with this thing. You do not want to be flinching with this thing at all. Now, do I rock this as an overkill? No, I just rock it with my pistol, personally. Because you can't hit things at range with this. It is quite satisfying to do. So my pistol usually makes up for that shortfall quite well. And would I recommend using this in multiplayer? It's a crossbow, of course I don't. However, it's fun. We don't do shit on this channel because it's recommended. I'm not everyone else. I'm not used this meta gun. We create our own metas. We create our own ways of having fun. But fun is the main objective. And that's what the crossbow is. Should you use it? No, of course you shouldn't. Is it an absolute hoot if you do? Yes, absolutely. That's my take on the crossbow. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button below. Consider subscribing if you're new here. And I'll see you in the next ShadowsReign A1A YouTube video. I'll see you in the next one. That's like just as weird as the peace thing.